The former Bayesian captain offers insight into the tragedy. This is from Shuttlebot News, and it was published on the 27th of August 2024. Stephen Edwards, captain of the 58-meter Preene-Navy-built Seahawk, was previously the captain from 2015 to 2020 for the 56-meter Preene-Navy Bayesian, which sank August the 19th off the coast of Italy. While investigators seek answers for why the storm downburst led to this tragedy, Edwards provides the following statement from his experience with the yacht. Having been bombarded with requests for information from journalists around the world for my input into the loss of the super yacht Bayesian a week ago, I have finally decided to make some notes on the subject. I have no desire to contribute to the wild speculation and claims that we have seen so far, or in any way suggest what really happened. Only those on board at the time will know that. But I can shed some light on the characteristics of the vessel and some of the limitations that would likely be involved in this disaster. Bayesian X Salute was a 56-meter Preene-Navy, part of a very successful series of hulls. She was the only one built as a sloop rig, meaning single mast, with the tallest aluminum mast ever constructed. I'm going to discuss step by step what I hope are pertinent facts about the boat and her design and operation that are relevant to this event. Number 1, the mast. The mast and rig are certainly a major feature of this yacht and presented structural challenges in construction and ongoing life. As it pushed the boundaries of aluminum mast construction, there were lessons that had to be learned over the years, but the result was a robust and well-controlled rig in the end that performed well, within the limits of the design. The vessel is delivered with a set of sail plan recommendations that for a range of wind strengths will cause the vessel to sail with the structural limits of the rig and ealing limits of the hull. Number 2, the ballast. The height of Bayesian's mast, of course, was considered in the overall design of the boat by Preene's engineers. To the end, she was equipped with an extra 30 tons of lead ballast in her keel box compared to the 56-meter kitch-rigged sister ships. This was to counter the extra mass, higher center of gravity, and higher center of effect from sailing forces that the sloop rig created. The main lead ballast was contained in a more or less rectangular box attached below the canoe-shaped part of the hull. The precise mass of the ballast I do not recall, but is probably around 200 tons or so. In the center part of the box there is a movable keel, which weighed around 60 tons and extended almost 6 meters below the keel box when lowered. This arrangement means that the majority of the riding moment of the vessel comes from the main ballast, the movable keel acting more as a centerboard to reduce side slip under sail. Number 3, stability. All yachts, such as Bayesian, are delivered with a stability information book. This document is approved by the flag state of the boat and defines the loading and operation limits. It also contains information on the riding characteristics. This operational limitations defined in the stability book must be adhered to at all times, which is the responsibility of the master. One section of Bayesian's stability book related to the use of the movable keel. It defines when it must be lowered. In this vessel's case, it was required to be lowered when using sails or when over 60 nautical miles offshore, regardless if they were sailing or using engines. At all other times, it could be in the raised position. The stability book also contains information regarding righting angles and watertight integrity of the hull. There are 2 important numbers here: angle of vanishing stability and the downflooding angle. The angle of vanishing stability is the angle of heel at which the vessel riding moment reaches 0, meaning the vessel will not return upright. Again, I forget the actual numbers for this, but the figures would be around 90 degrees when the movable keel is lowered and 75 degrees when it is raised. The down flooding angle is much more important in this scenario we are talking about. This is the angle of yaw at which the water will start to enter the vessel, usually through engine room or accommodation ventilation ducts. Once this starts, the vessel is in serious trouble and stability is quickly reduced or lost due to the flooding. The down flooding angle for Bayesian was around 40 or 45 degrees, much less than the AVS. So unless the vent dampers are closed, which with HVAC systems and generators running, they would not be, as they needed to be open for that, the vessel will start flooding rapidly if yielded more than the down flooding angle. Number 4, all openings. Bayesian had one shell door in its hull. It's on the port side aft. As this was very close to the waterline, it was rarely used. Remembering the extra 30 tons of ballast mentioned earlier, this caused the waterline to be 100 millimeters higher than the other 56 meter Perinis, and much closer to the bottom of the shell opening, meaning it could only be open in flat calm conditions. 100% it was not open at night. There are no opening windows or portholes, which are all made from laminated marine glass bonded to the hull and superstructure. Other deck hatch or superstructure openings that breach the watertight integrity on Bayesian are on or close to the center line of the vessel. For these to be taking on water if opened, the vessel would have to be yielded way beyond the down flooding angle mentioned earlier, and ends already flooding via ducting or vents. Only one opening was located far from the center line and could be vulnerable to down flooding at lower angles of yaw. This is the deck access to the lazarette area towards the stern. However, as it is located on the port side of the aft deck, it would unlikely be an initial factor in this scenario, as we know that Bayesian was knocked down on the starboard side. And as such, this hatch, even if opened as the crew on deck, etc., would have been one of the later parts to be submerged. Number 5, the summary. The vessel Bayesian was sound and seaworthy by design, and to my knowledge well maintained as such. However, eeling her to more than 45-degree angle, while in normal operational state, could result in flooding and subsequent loss, if the flooding could not be controlled. The weather conditions that could have created these extreme circumstances can indeed occur, with very little warning, and being so localized, are difficult to prepare for, leaving a very short time for the crew to react. How this vessel came to be taken outside of her operation limits is what the investigators will need to determine, which I am sure they will. This is very interesting and comes from a man that knows this vessel well.